And welcome back again to FFL Boss Tutorials. Today we're actually going to be covering acquisitions. We did a previous video on acquisitions, but we've made so many upgrades and positive changes in FFL Boss that I felt that it was time to do yet another video. From the dashboard here, there are a couple of ways to access acquisitions. You can either go to the acquisitions page and then click on Add Acquisition up in the upper right hand corner, or if you are on any other page such as the dashboard, dispositions, products, firearms, any other page, you can go to the quick transactions for quite a few different things: acquisitions, dispositions, FFL to FFL transfers, and so on. I'm going to go ahead and click on acquisitions here. This brings up our Add Acquisition pop-up. From here, this is where you select your main details, such as the location that you're going to be acquiring to if you have multiple locations, the bound book that you're going to acquire to if you have multiple bound books, whether you're going to be acquiring from a dealer or a customer. If it's from a dealer, simply select the dealer from your drop-down list. If that dealer doesn't exist in your drop-down list, you can press this blue plus button to the right, and it'll bring up the Add Dealer pop-up. From this page, you can either manually add a firearms dealer, or you can look up that dealer from the FFL lookup. This FFL lookup is actually tied to the ATF's FFL database that we pull from on a regular basis. Once you select the dealer that you're going to be acquiring from, simply click Autofill. All of that dealer's information will then be populated into the correct fields. Then there's one additional cool feature. You can upload a copy of their FFL in a JPEG or a PNG format. Next is to click Add Dealer. As you can see, as soon as I've chosen Lipsies, we get an FFL Easy Check validation, which also shows your expiration date for that particular FFL that they have on file. You can additionally add acquisition notes, or if you have the pawn module, you can add the pawn inventory or the pawn ticket numbers. Now let's click on New. We have the option to choose between new and previous. The time that you would use previous is in the event that you attempted an acquisition before but didn't quite finalize it, and it places the firearm into a quote-unquote never acquired status. In order to find those never acquired firearms, you would go to the previous and then look them up that way and then finalize the acquisition. Let's go ahead and go to new. Now that we're here on the new page, we need to choose the firearm type, the manufacturer, the model, the caliber, and then we can create an internal SKU, add the barrel length, overall length, any bound book notes that we want, our costs, our minimum price, our list price, and then of course retail label notes. The retail label notes will be printed on the barcode labels, and those can be produced using a Dymo printer. Last of all is to add the serial numbers. You have three separate ways to add serial numbers. If you have a list of serial numbers in a CSV or maybe an Excel file that are not sequential numbers, you can cut and paste them into this list here. In the event that you have sequential numbers, you can simply add those through this system and press Calculate. As you can see, all 51 firearms were populated. Well, what if one or two of those firearms didn't show up, or maybe it was damaged in the process? You can simply find that and remove it individually. Now it brings us back to the Add Acquisition pop-up yet again. We scroll down to the very bottom, we can see that 49 items will be added to this acquisition. Last step is to click on Finalize Acquisition. Once we have done so, we can see that we come to the acquisition page where all of those firearms are going to be located. We can now print product labels. We can either do a full label or a barcode only. When we click on barcode only, every one of those labels will be produced, and the very last step is to simply click here to print. Now when we go to the main acquisitions page, we can see each of those firearms that was acquired, which acquisition number it was under. We have a link to the serial number which takes us to that product, and last of all, we can come into that acquisition yet again if we need to edit any of the information about that acquisition. That sums up the acquisitions for FFL Boss. We've tried to make it as simple as possible, and once again, thank you for using FFL Boss, your FFL software provider.